Hello and welcome to the Talk Football Podcast. This is season 5, episode 10, and today I am joined by Mr. Andy Reid, who is a Man United fan. We're going to reflect on today's game, and obviously our regular co-host and editor, Adam James. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello again.
It feels weird being back.
Mate, I mean, for you, it's been a long time.
Very long time
since you've been on. So, yeah, we've had a few changes. So obviously, since you've been away, Adam's now full-time editor and co-host on the show. So
yeah, and I just not grown any hair yet.
And I've lost teeth. But nevertheless, we're here to talk about Manchester United. And it's not been the best of starts for Ruben Amorim, I think we can say. Today's result is just another episode in a long line of recent failures.
This 3-5-2 does not work in the fucking Premier League. Excuse me, French, but it does not bloody work.
It works if you've got the players to play it, and you haven't.
No, we do not.
So if you're going to persist with a back three of De Ligt, Maguire +1. And he's been mixing that about, whether it's been Marazzawi jumping in there or whoever, or Lenny Yoro, but he's not really been playing Yoro. Obviously, Martinez would be the more ideal one, give that left-footed balance. But for me, it completely falls down because you don't have a fully fit, recognised left-back. I know you've brought in Dorgu, but he's a young lad, yet again, not really ready for the Premier League. So you end up square peg round holes. Yeah, again, you had Dalot playing in there today, and I thought Dalot did all right. I didn't think he actually had a bad game, but I do think it unbalances the team.
It massively does, and I know he tries to switch his Mazraoui and Dalot left and right side, but it just does not work.
No,
it was working all right when Ahmad was fit. Obviously, now he's out for the season. Brilliant.
That's because you had that outlet.
Yeah, and now it's just gone pear-shaped again. Got no like they showed the
whole Rashford debacle as well, and
Rashford. It's a absolute show at Man United.
Yeah, on and off the pitch. I mean, we'll get onto the boardroom because he's making people pay for their dinners now. So
and wash their own kits now.
You know what?
Are they really?
Yeah.
Did you not see that? Right. So
no, I never saw that. No.
Basically, unless you're a actual player, so like a first team player, women's player in the academy squads or whatever, if you're just a normal coach, like background coach, member of staff, etc., you have to buy your own food in the canteen. All he will give you is an apple and soup for free.
Wow.
And you got to wash your own kits now.
Yeah.
So there's no kit man that does it all for it. Wow.
No. So people are having to do that. And they're talking about another 250 jobs that he's looking at cutting as well.
I saw that the other day. I saw that pop up on my.
I don't get me wrong. Listen, I know financially with the way the Glazers have run the club, where they've extorted money out to facilitate the debt that they acquired to buy the club. I get that under PSR that they've got to work within those frames, but this is Man United. This is 74,000 people every week.
Clubs in Europe, and we're
just bizarre.
It's been run so poor, it's unreal.
Yeah. So basically, they were saying that they were, according to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe says, that they're losing the best part of 300 million a year.
A year.
That's what the losses are. But you have to bear in mind that the turnover is way beyond that. It's in the billions, isn't it? I think the turnover something like where it is. But yeah, so they're not profiting. So basically all they're doing is servicing debt. So they're taking whatever profits that they would have had from all the revenue and etc. that they bring in, they're using that to service the debt and the payments on the debt that the Glazers ran up to buy the club. So yes, but surely Ratcliffe would have known this. I mean, when you buy a business or you buy into a business, you do due diligence, whatever the fuck you call it.
Do your homework.
My teeth in. You do your homework, you look at the books, and surely they would have known all this before buying their 25% stake.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But I don't think he's realised how big of a job it is.
It sounds like you got a bunch of clowns running your club.
Honestly, mate, do you know what? I'm so glad that he never actually pursued his interest in Chelsea when he got his first knockback when Bluco were buying the club from Abramovich, because I can't even imagine the mess he would have come in and made at Chelsea. I mean, our lot are making a mess of it as it is, but that would have been even worse. But I digress.
Coming back, the Qatari lot are coming back in to buy the other 75% now again.
I mean, for me, that's what's needed to sort the club out and to take the club forward. I think even Radcliffe needs to go. I think that just doesn't work.
A whole new change by the sounds of it.
I get that, you know, he's looking at it from a business perspective, but ultimately, if everything is wrong in the background, then nothing will work on the pitch. Because if you've got unhappy coaches, unhappy dinner ladies, unhappy kitmen, and everyone else, it affects the whole morale around the camp, the training ground, and that's just not going to translate onto the pitch. And on the pitch, it's bad enough as it is.
Like, you know the last couple of games, I watched the Everton game, I watched the Ipswich game, obviously I watched the game today. There's only one man fighting for the club, on the pitch. And even then, half the time he's throwing his hands up in the air, and that's Bruno.
Yeah.
While we're on this, then,
I know
what's the thoughts on Amorim?
Bruno.
He's come as normally have a mate who comes around and watches the games with me, in a guy called Dave, and he says he's come from Mickey Mouse League in Portugal to one of the biggest league in Europe.
I think personally he's took too much on, hasn't he? He's took too much on.
He's took way too much.
He's not in his depth now.
And there's a little bit of mirror with this, with Ange Postecoglou at Spurs as well.
Yeah.
Because both of them have got, like, this is the way I play. This is the way you're going to play. And if you don't like it, you're not going to play, like they've done with Rashford, with Anthony, and binned them off out the club, albeit on loans. But there's no flexibility, because clearly we can all see, you can see as a Man United fan, that this system isn't working. He will not change. He's not even changing. If we go back, let's just, we won't go back too far, because to be fair, not to dig you out too much, but the bad run goes way back before February. So
yeah, you're telling me.
So if we look at those, just purely, we just look at the February results. I mean, you had the 3-2 win against Ipswich, which is great. To be fair, and I'll give you a bit of credit, but I don't necessarily put that down to Amorim pulling the draw back against. No,
that was, once again, that was all Bruno.
Bruno getting Bruno with the goal, and then obviously a great finish on the edge of the box by Ugarte. But you were in trouble in that game.
We were massively in trouble. But like, I played darts with an Everton fan. He's like, I said to him, I'll take a draw at Goodison right now, especially the form Everton's in.
Yeah, doing well.
I was happy to take. I slapped his hand. I said, I'll take a draw.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know. We'll see how you feel with this, and Adam's opinion as well. Is it a case of, do the directors know that they've made a mistake with this guy, and they can't give him what he needs to make this system and team function? And have they put themselves in such a hole now where they cannot afford to sack him?
Yeah, absolutely. Financially, this is going to cost us another 20 million minimum to back him off.
And even if they come to some sort of deal, you would think at least a 6-7 million payoff.
Yeah.
To try and get, and if you're Amorim, I mean, you signed the contract, you're like, well, I'm not quitting, I'm not walking away.
Yeah.
So, or do you say we're far enough away from relegation? You know,
it's mad to hear that relegation.
It's here to think.
It's just like I was saying, we were talking with Paul earlier, though. Just because you're a big club, it doesn't guarantee that you have the right to stay in this division.
No.
Yeah, but you never hear this, though. Man United relegation. Never hear it.
Never, ever. Now we are.
Never, ever hear it. And now it's like, I'm hoping they do. Sorry, Anne, but I'm hoping they do, because it's going to be funny.
Can you imagine?
Imagine them in the Championship.
Well, it did get relegated under, was it Doherty?
Yeah, we're talking
That was back in the end of the 70s, wasn't it? End of the 70s.
I want even in my dad's knackers then.
Yeah,
sorry, apologies on the topic. But yeah, it can happen. I mean, you know,
it definitely can happen.
It can happen.
I don't think it's not going to.
No, you're far enough away from it now.
We're far enough away.
10 points away from Wolves, so yeah.
The 3 teams in the relegation are not really doing anything in Southampton, Ipswich, and Leicester.
No, I would think that. It would be
safe.
You'd think so. I mean.
Well, then again, it's football. Look what Leicester did years ago. Miracles can happen.
Miracles can happen. But what are the odds of Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton all now start winning every game?
Well, I'm hoping Southampton don't win anymore because I want them to beat Derby's record.
Adam wants the record. Obviously, Derby County hold the record with the lowest amount of points to be relegated with on 11.
It's 11 points, wasn't it? Yeah.
11 points, and obviously Southampton are sitting there on 9, so he's hoping that they don't pick up at least another 3 points. You'd think it's unlikely at some point that they're going to fluke a win somewhere. But yeah, it's an unwanted record, and obviously, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
The biggest example I watched with this 3-5-2 was, I think Roy Keane explained it with the Ipswich game. You have Bruno and Casemiro in midfield when it's meant to be a 3-5-2.
Well, this is the thing with the system, because more often than not, the way I look at it when it lines up, it don't line up. It more lines up as you have the 3 at the back, you have the 2 wing backs pushing on. He seems to try and get then 2 holders, and then instead of having like a 2 strikers and a 10, it seems to be he wants to try and make those wider players almost players are double 10s with 1 central striker. And I know today he went with a more conventional 2. I know Xerxes was pulling left a little bit, and which left Højlund through the middle more on his own, and enabling Bruno to push on a bit further in as more of a 10. But then it created such an imbalance because Dalot was bombing up the left, and Fulham were just in behind all the time.
Yeah, but they were doing that. Their midfield, Man United's midfield looked lost.
It does.
They always do. Every game I've watched, they look lost.
Every game, it's like no one knows what they're doing.
No, and for me, if you look at the players that have gone, so Rashford, who's pretty much not played any football for almost a year, more or less, a couple of games here and there, but under Amorim as well, he's just not been in the picture. They had the falling out. We know all that. He's gone to Villa, and he's already got. I know he hasn't scored, but he's already got 4 assists.
Yeah,
and his link-up play with the Villa forwards, Wally Watkins with Asensio, it works. Anthony, the much maligned Anthony, has gone off the, and they're holding Real Madrid last night, and he's scoring goals for fun.
Just shows you done it.
Scott McTominay's got, could potentially end up as a league winner.
There's definitely something going off at that club, Man United. Definitely something going off behind doors.
Perfect midfielder for what you need at the moment.
It is an absolute shambles. Like
it is.
And I still can't believe they offloaded him, I still can't believe McTominay.
Yeah, because
all of them. All of them.
With McTominay, it came down to the same reason why we sold Gallagher. The same reason why Newcastle sold Anderson. It all comes down to the PSR, and because he's homegrown, Scott McTominay counts as pure profit.
Yeah.
But yet again, that's a business decision. It's not a football decision.
It's not football anymore. I've said this before. It's not football. It's business.
But then the money we sold McTominay for, look what we bought. We spent 60 million on Ugarte.
Yeah.
Where's the PSR in that?
It's because they put him on a long contract, which means they can shelf
Euro. He was 50 odd million.
Yeah. But remember, you've kind of followed what we've done at Chelsea. So a lot of those players
we're not doing 10-year contracts. We're not Chelsea.
6-7 year contracts. So that fee then gets divided by, under PSR rules, that fee gets divided by the length of the contract. So in effect, you buy a player for, say, 60 million, and you're only going to pay back sort of like over a 6-year contract. You're only going to pay back, say, 10 million a year on your PSR, which means under your budget, it works. But it doesn't necessarily. But still, for me, you're losing a great player to bring in people that are not accustomed to playing in the Premier League and take time to settle. So
don't get me wrong, I really like Ugarte. I think he's a quality player.
And De Ligt's another one. For me, De
Ligt's problem, he's too injury prone.
There's that, but I also think he's not suited to the Premier League. I think the Premier
League. It's a bit clumsy for me. He seems a bit clumsy for me. It's too.
I know he did have a great performance today. He took half the Fulham team out.
He's a good player. He is a good player. I'm not denying. He's got qualities, but I think in a three,
it don't work.
If you're going to play a 3 centre backs, you need 3 really mobile centre backs who can get around the pitch. Can cover when the wing backs go forward. And for me, Maguire and De Ligt are just not that.
I think De Ligt done it today because he did cover Mazraoui left, right, centre just today. I'm not saying over the whole season.
Yeah, but bearing in mind,
today, that was great.
You're up against the likes of Bassi, Traore. So
I don't know where Alan Shearer got Bruno man of the match for that game. I would put Bassi as man of the match for that.
Well, a bit of bias there.
I know it's not hard.
There's a bit. I think the only reason I think probably Shearer actually has got in with a bit of a loving on Bruno Fernandes is because Roy Keane went in on Fernandes the other day on Sky Sports when he had that big party with, and it was on Sky Sports, the Neville podcast, The Overlap.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw it, Ad, but Roy Keane and Ian Wright had a massive argument.
Yeah, I've seen a few clips on TikTok.
Over Man United.
While we're on all players, I've got a question for Andy. Right. Yeah. If survival, and it's a massive if because obviously the way it's going, it is possible. But where would you strengthen, and how would you strengthen?
Where do you begin?
Season?
Everywhere.
Do you get everywhere? Yeah.
Where do you honestly begin? You need midfielders, you need defenders, you need more strikers.
And can you see Amarin staying?
I don't think they got choice.
Like I was saying about that money.
No, we can't.
Well, I'm just looking at your fixtures coming up. You've got Sociedad twice.
Yep.
You've got, because obviously you're in the Europa League. And then 9th of March, you've got Arsenal. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But Arsenal, do you know what? I wouldn't, in a game, in the big games, to be fair to Man United, in the actual big games against the top 6 teams, over the course of the season, they've actually done all right.
We beat Man City. We beat Arsenal in the FA Cup with 10 men with 60 minutes played, 60 minutes left.
It's when they're coming up against teams in and around them in the league is where the problems are.
Yeah,
and lost to Fulham. Sorry.
Yeah. Is that a thing? Is that
I'm not knocking them. They were great penalties. I was saying it to Hodgie.
Yeah, good game.
They were great penalties.
And here we go, 16th of March, Leicester. That you've got to win that.
Yeah. It's just
if you don't win that, you've got to go down and throw him out of the club.
Leicester.
Yeah.
I think you must-win games against Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. We must win game Leicester. We must win game against Ipswich.
And then April, you've got Forest, Man City, Newcastle, Wolves, Bournemouth in April.
It's that bad that every game's a must-win game there.
That's it. Like I say, miracles can happen, and hopefully, if we ever see Man United relegation, that's mad. And I can't say anything as Derby is struggling at the minute, so I know how you feel.
From my business point of view, so I drive coaches for Norwich, that would be brilliant. So I could go to Old Trafford for lovely.
Yeah.
Get a free away day at Old Trafford.
Yeah, honestly, I would happily drive a coach to Old Trafford for the day.
The club might go out of business because of it, but get a free away day.
Yeah. It's the whole structure of Man United is just a joke. Obviously,
I think it is.
You see it most rainy days. The stadium's falling apart. The whole team's falling apart. The club's falling apart.
But this is the thing. I mean, you can't afford to put players on the pitch. You're making cuts, and yet they're still talking about a £500 million redevelopment or rebuild of Old Trafford. Everything just doesn't add up. Nothing makes sense about the decisions that these people are making. That's the thing I find.
Well, it's like you said earlier about money. Like they've made all this loss, made profits, but it's not actual profits, and now they want to do that with the stadium.
Yeah.
So are they in a mess, or are they just pretending they're in a mess?
I think Jim Ratcliffe's coming now. I think he's bit off more than he can chew. He's not a football man. He might be a football fan, but he's not. He's never run a football club. Nice. And then he's put sporting. He's brought in sporting directors, and he's brought in people to get involved with the day-to-day running of the club who are not involved in football. They're not football people, and so you've got people not making decisions about the football club that have no relevance to football.
Dan Ashworth just proves it.
Don't get me wrong. Dan Ashworth came with great pedigree and he'd done really well in his positions before. He'd done phenomenal with the FA. But it's no good bringing Dan Ashworth in and saying, I want you to redevelop this team, get the academy and producing players, qualify for the Champions League, and then go out and buy a load of shit. It don't work. It don't work. I'm pretty sure. And for me, they've made Dan Ashworth a bit of a fool guy for this whole situation, because since Dan Ashworth's gone, nothing's changed. Dan Ashworth weren't in charge throughout the January transfer window in terms of of what players came in and out. So you can't put the blame on him for that. So the blame lies with Jim Radcliffe, the Glazers, and a very, very stubborn manager who will not change his tactics despite getting smashed every week.
That is, you hit the nail on the head.
That's the crux of it, isn't it?
Big-headedness, I'm calling it. Big-headedness.
Yeah. He's coming. And
just because what he did at Portugal, I'm sorry. Yeah, completely different league.
And to be fair to him, the league's not great.
Benfica and Porto, that's it.
The league's not great, but he did do well in the Champions League. So I give him credit for that, for making Sporting competitive in the Champions League and having good players. But he was able to do that over a course of 2 seasons to build that team, which started off as a team that he built throughout a campaign through Europa League, but to them qualifying for the Champions League and then becoming a Champions League team for the last 18 months or so. And he did really well with it.
Like you're saying that now, maybe he just needs another season. Maybe needs another next full proper season. I would transfer windows where he can actually get rid of deadwood that's not needed.
He's even said he didn't want to come now. He wanted to come.
He wanted to come at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And it's either now or never. So what's he going to do?
For me, if they were going to do this, they should never have bothered. If they knew, let's all face the facts. They knew that the minute you hit a patch of rough games at the start of the season, that they were going to sack Ten Hag. We all knew it. We were all amazed.
You could see it.
That they even.
Ruben Amorim is playing more attractive football than Ten Hag is.
Yeah,
I was amazed that Ten Hag lasted that long.
Yeah,
but he put 2 trophies in the cabinet.
2 trophies in the cabinet somehow.
Yeah, good Man City. Just because the football weren't pretty, he was able to use what he had.
Still got wins
and gave the club 2 trophies in 2 seasons. I don't necessarily think that he'd done a that bad a job. No, sometimes you've got to say, okay, the football isn't great, but
football isn't great. But when you get battered 7-0 by Liverpool,
I get that, and I get, but ultimately, end of the day, every team goes into. There's only 3 domestic trophies that you can win when you go into a season, unless you're in Europe. There's only 3 domestic trophies you can win: League Cup, FA Cup, and the Premier League. And for the last 7 years, the Premier League's been out of touch of most people because Man City have been so dominant. So he prioritised winning a cup. He did that. He delivered. He's delivered European football. And then 5 games into a season or so, or whatever it was, because the results went bad and we all knew it was coming, they bin him off. So if you're going to do that, again, that's another poor decision by the board. If you're going to do that, bid him off at the start of the season, bring Amorim in at the start of the season with a full summer transfer window to work with. He could have had the players in training. He would have identified that squad and said, right, these players have got to go. These players can't play my system. This is what I need. Go and get me this. Sell these, make some money, bring me in. Don't care if they're young players. I need hungry, young, quick players to play this system. You can make money off of these players that I'm not going to use because they don't fit me. Harry Maguire, Rashford, whoever, Anthony. Probably could have brought in, if they'd have done business early at the start of the season and shipped these players off that they knew that he weren't going to use, if they had Amorim in, they probably could have made 150 million, and that would have built and probably enough as a starting position for Amorim to go forward.
I think it was panic. Personally. Yeah. They saw them was dropping in the league, and I thought, massive panic. Yeah. They're like, right, get rid now.
You can't come out and publicly back Ten Hag and say he's our man. Give him a new contract as well. Don't forget they gave him a new contract. Yeah, it's not like they just said.
I still don't his hands together when he got sacked.
Yeah,
So that's cost them that's cost them an extra couple of million to sack him as well.
He was laughing all the way to Netherlands, wasn't he?
Wow, it's a mess.
It just shows what a shit show Man United is at a minute.
It really is. It's so poor. A club of that size and stature, and the fact that your most successful manager in your history, you've even binned him off.
Yeah, they got rid of Fergie.
They binned off Ferguson as a paid ambassador for the club.
That's so ridiculous.
And it wasn't even a lot of money. It was like when you talking in the red, he was getting paid a couple $100,000 a year to be a worldwide ambassador for the club, turn up and speeches, after dinner speeches for the club, this, that, and the other. It's like wheeling out your old granddad and then saying, "Sorry, granddad, you're not needed."
Sorry, mate, you're going to care.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Book your funeral, mate. Yeah.
Thanks for the great inheritance, but we don't need you anymore.
That just shows another thing. What's wrong with the damn club?
Yeah, Mourinho said it. 4 years ago when they sacked Mourinho, and he did the press conference and blah blah blah, and he outlined every single problem, and he said, "This is what's going to happen with the club. The club are going to fail because they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not doing this, blah blah blah. This is how it's going to go," and he was proven right.
Mourinho said it. Ronaldo said it with Piers. Zlatan's even come out and said it now. Yeah. Ragnick said it. How many more people got to say it to go, well, hang a minute, is there a problem with Man United going on right now?
And
I'm not being funny. You get a player like Ronaldo in, and he wants to leave. That says something.
Yeah.
And his love for United was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it still is.
But do you know what it was? Because
he left for a reason. It wasn't for sad. He left for a reason.
He left because the professionalism level at the club didn't match what he wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And because he was angry at that, and that caused the problem in the dressing room with these egotistical young players at the time who didn't like being told what to do and thought the situation wasn't serious and wasn't funny and they didn't really care. That angered him because he's a winner. He's a serial winner.
He just wants to win trophies, bless him. Fair enough.
He's 30, which anyone would. At the age of 37, it's like, right, I'll come back here to win more trophies United.
Win more trophies. Let's face it, he could have gone.
Name me another 30.
Could have gone anywhere.
Other than Zlatan, who's won trophies at that age.
Even City flirted with the idea of nicking him.
Yeah.
Didn't he actually turn down Saudi originally to go to United, didn't he?
Yeah.
He turned down Saudi and there was basically City felt him out a little bit and said, "Do you fancy it?" And he was like, initially, because he wanted to come back and win trophies.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come back and could have come back to any Premier League club and probably done a job, but he wanted to win trophies, and he gave Man United the opportunity to sign that kind of, and he was still scoring goals. It's not like he was
also 21 goals.
You could see the passion. You could see the passion in him though.
Yeah.
When he gets marred and all that, that's passion. That's passion in a footballer. They want to score goals.
He's driven.
They want to win games.
That kind of, and not in that. Even since he's left Man United, he's gone to Saudi. He's scored goals for fun out there, but you would do because it's basically a pub league. But I thought he set up had some chances. But but on the international stage, he still performed. So it's not a player. And like I got right away back at the start of this podcast, like I said, that all the players that have left are doing well. So that tells you everything you need to know.
That's the fact that Rashford wants to stay at Villa says everything.
Yeah.
Boyhood Man United. Boyhood Man United through and through. Now he wants to stay in Birmingham.
Yeah. It's madness, mate.
It's
madness. So, well, what we'll do at the end of I think obviously you've only got one match left, so in March. So I think by at the end of March, we'll bring you back on.
Yeah,
we'll see where you are because and we're doing the same with Paul as well. So we've got like four fixtures across March, and then we'll get you guys back on because you're kind of in similar sort of positions as well in the league. So it'd be interesting to see the contrast of which one of you can move forward, if either, and we'll see where you are.
Yeah, you're actually level on points. West Ham, Spurs, and United all on the same points.
Even that Spurs game, like. Spurs went 1-0 up, and then that's it. They're like, well, Man United ain't going to do anything. Fuck it. We'll just knock the ball about.
Just sit back.
That's all they did.
And that was a Spurs team with no fit defenders.
No Van der Ven, no fucking...
No Van der Ven, no Romero.
Yeah.
They had Kevin Danzo. I think it was only his second game.
That Alfie, whatever his name is.
Eddie Gray playing at the back with him.
Yeah,
young boy Gray.
Was it Spence?
Yeah, Spence playing at left back out of position.
Pedro
Porro on the right.
Didn't you have more as well?
They had Kinski in goal. They didn't even have Vicario back for that one. I don't think either.
Oh, wow, yeah, because he played out of blinded, didn't it? She agrees.
Dog agrees as well.
Yeah.
So
it's that bad. For
the second time, she knows how to chirp him.
Madison can do that, and they go, well,
that's it.
Right,
sharp shot. These lot got nothing.
No, Man United.
And to be fair, without Ahmad, you look blunt. You really do.
Ahmad and Garnacho.
Garnacho's even kind of gone off the ball because yet again he doesn't fit this system that he wants to play. So Ahmad's the one for me. That's the real.
It was literally it. Ahmad.
Yeah. So
Ahmad and Bruno.
But there we go, mate.
The only two people playing.
That's the end of this episode, and like I say, we'll get Andy back on after this next round of 4 fixtures or so. See how they've done in the Europa League as well.
Yeah.
It's not an easy game that as well.
When I'm on the floor crying,
and we could have a laugh a bit more.
Yeah, I'll be on the floor crying like a 2-year-old in a tantrum.
And I might be crying because Derby will be in a bad spot as well. So
once again, as well, for anyone. So we do have another project that we have going as well, which is the Matchday Vlogs. I'd love to be able to get up to Man United and do a Matchday vlog at Old Trafford. That would be amazing, but I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Maybe I can. Maybe we have to try and look at pictures, Andy. And,
don't be in the home end.
No, I'll go hospitality, padded seat.
Cool, there you go. Right. It's on the screen now. Sorry, Andy, that's just go off a sec.
Yeah. So that's the main page, and we only have the 3 sections there. So we have obviously the Matchday Vlogs, we have the main podcast, and the audio options for everyone as well.
Yeah, they're your playlists.
They're the playlist. So anyone that's watching this back, please go and check out those. If you're not a subscriber and you're here and you catch us, please hit that subscribe button. Give us a little like on the video, and make sure you hit the bell to notify you when we put a new episode out. So we're looking at Monday nights. Monday night is what we're going to start calling content night. So Monday nights at 7 p.m. is when content will go live. So this episode now you're going to be seeing popping up in 3 Mondays' time. That'll be interesting because we'll have a much better idea of where United are. So everything that we've said here now will have a real relevance in terms of if anything changes.
Yeah.
So, if we're talking 3 weeks down the line from where we're recording this now, and if nothing's improved, you're in big trouble.
That's saying so bad, isn't it? Man United, big trouble.
Big trouble. Big trouble.
Big relegation.
Big trouble in Little Trafford. Right, there we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Andy, for coming on, mate. And as ever,
nice to meet you, Andy.
Thank you to Adam, our co-host here and editor, for all these wonderful edits on all the videos we've been putting out. And we shall see you on the next episode and the next vlog. Thank you. Goodbye.
See you in a bit.
See ya.